My name is Leila Sadat. I'm the Henry H. Oberschelt Professor of Law at Washington University in St. Louis. I also direct the Whitney Harris World Law Institute at Washington University. I teach public international law, international human rights, seminars on war crimes, and since 1994, I've been working very intensely on the problem of crimes against humanity, as well as on the establishment of the International Criminal Court. I was lucky enough to attend the Rome Conference as a delegate in 1998 and have worked to promote the court and protect the court to some extent, and now I serve as special advisor on crimes against humanity to the International Criminal Court prosecutor Fatou Bensouda. In 2008, I started an initiative called the Crimes Against Humanity Initiative, and that initiative brought together 7 individuals, including myself, to direct a project to study the phenomenon of crimes against humanity, which are widespread and systematic attacks on civilians, and to draft the world's first ever global convention for the prevention and suppression of crimes against humanity. So we began our process in 2008. We held a conference in St. Louis, another conference in The Hague. We then reached out to experts all over the globe, giving them a draft convention that was produced by Sharif Bassiouni in French and in English. And then in 2010, we convened a very major international conference at the Brookings Institution in Washington, D.C., at which time we adopted a draft statute, basically, for a new Crimes Against Humanity Convention. And we finalized that and adopted a declaration that's now been signed by many distinguished individuals supporting that effort. We then translated the project into many languages, published a book, and we were very fortunate when in 2013 the International Law Commission of the United Nations took up our project and began the process of developing a convention that states could ultimately adopt. So it's been a very exciting journey. There's still a lot of work to be done. There's a need for civil society and states to sign on to the idea that the prevention and punishment of crimes against humanity are critically essential. But I think that that work will slowly but surely advance. And this conference today that we're having on the unlawful use of force and crimes against humanity in particular, I think is a great step forward in that project. And the international community is made up largely of sovereign states. And the way states decide to tackle problems is they adopt something called a convention or a treaty. And it's like legislation at the national level. States can talk, you can have policy discussions, you can have working groups, but until you have a treaty, you don't really have hard law, at least for the most part. There is something called customary international law, but we don't use that to prosecute individuals for crimes because individuals have to be on notice of what the crime is. What a convention will do is it will give states tools that they can use to cooperate between themselves so that no state becomes a safe haven for crimes against humanity perpetrators. And it will also allow them potentially to turn over those individuals to the International Criminal Court, which they can do under the ICC statute now, but some states are not parties to the International Criminal Court. So it allows both ICC and non-ICC states parties to participate in the arrest, investigation, prosecution, and potentially extradition or surrender of individuals accused of committing crimes against humanity. It also does other important things, issues like statutes of limitations, issues like immunities, command responsibilities, superior orders, all these doctrines that are present in the ICC statute, for example, would then be able to be placed into an international treaty that states can use as the basis for criminalizing the offense in their own national legal systems. The important thing to note is this treaty would not create a new court. So we already have the International Criminal Court. What this treaty does is empower states to make sure that those who perpetrate these crimes are ultimately brought to justice.